Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all around the world, today I have the privilege of welcoming a visionary leader in the world of neuroscience, technology, and human performance. He is the co-founder and chief business officer of NuCalm and the world's only patented neuroscience technology clinically proven to lower stress, improve speed, and sleep in life in general, and enhance recovery without drugs, without side effects, and without compromise. With decades of experience in building companies, scaling partnerships, and shaping market adoption, he has been instrumental in guiding UConn from concept to a global movement that is redefining wellness for athletes, professionals, medical practitioners, and everyday people. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to David Poole, a trailblazer at the intersection of science, technology, and business development, and someone who is helping the world rethink what it means to truly rest, recover, and live at our best. And for me personally, one of the best human beings, I'll be honest with you, to have some of the most fun conversations with when we are having our working sessions, and I cannot wait to hang out with in person along with my family. So ladies and gentlemen, don't touch that phone if you're driving, but if you're not, put a whole lot of love in that comment section and engage with this conversation. Mr. Poole, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to finally get this on a record exclusive interview. How's it going today?
Excellent. It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you. I appreciate the energized intro, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Right on, right on. Let's get right into it, shall we? So, as the co-founder, as the CBO, how do you describe NuCalm from your own lens to someone hearing about it for the very first time?
That's a great question. And it's funny. Everybody's different. Every circumstance is different. We're all different at different times of the day, even. So I'm very keen on listening and understanding and reading your body language, your word choices. If you're someone who's really stressed at the moment, I literally say, hey, I've got something that will literally help you out right now, right here. Let's get after it. If you're someone who's trying to help over the phone, or someone I'm trying to help in person, I explain the consequence of ignoring chronic stress and acting like it's a good thing. And I get more done when I'm stressed. I'm more active when I'm stressed. The bottom line is stress is going to kill each and every one of us. It's part of the whole entropy function, and it's really important for self-preservation and survival. That's its critical function, cortisol production. But at the end of the day, we're not living in a society today where our lives are in danger all the time. So it triggers the exact same response. It's a very unhealthy, chronic problem. And what I would say to someone who's, living the best life they can, they think they've got the coping skills, everything's checked off, that they're doing okay. I always say, listen, you want to live with energy, you want to live inspired, you want to live with purpose, you want to sleep well, you want to take care of your stress management piece. One of the things I used to say in my lectures is, show of hands, walk me through your stress management program. No hands came up. No one knows what I'm talking about. How do we manage stress today? Alcohol. Hey, have a drink at the end of the day. Some people use recreational marijuana or medical grade marijuana. Some people use pharmaceuticals. Some people do Tai Chi and yoga and meditation. You know how I handle stress for the better part of my life? Was motorcycles and hockey. Those are my Zen moments. Those are the places where it's personal, it's private, and literally my head just empties. As soon as I lace up and get on the ice, I don't care about work. I don't care about my kids. I don't care about my wife. I don't care about my problems. I don't care about the economy. Nothing. I just care about, hey, am I in the right place to get the puck, and can I put it in the net? On motorcycles, if you're a motorcycle rider, you can't think about anything else. It's literally forced
focus.
to empty your head.
Yeah.
It's a very Zen moment. With NuCalm, it literally connects you with your subconscious. And this wasn't by design. And it's not by accident. It's by physics and math, but it's a really personal, private place. I know I've been talking all over the place because I get excited about this, and I'll give you an elevator pitch, but I'll tell you how NuCalm has changed my life. And this is usually a good way to get people thinking about it. I was never a napper. I never appreciated or respected nappers. I was like, what the heck are you doing? Who's got time for a nap? There's not enough hours in the day to do all the things I want to do that I've already said I'm going to do, and I'm going to do. And when I first started using NuCalm, it was really hard for me to say, hey, I need to take that 20 minutes because I'm always having calls. I'm always late for calls. I'm always doing things. When you say yes to everything, you're the one who pays the price, right? So taking a nap seemed like a really bad idea and kind of a low productivity move. Okay. So that was my bias. Now, 15 years of doing NuCalm every day, if I showed you my stats, I'm up over 3,600 rescue sessions since 2022. So I've got a really rich habit. It suggests I'm doing it twice a day, which I usually am. Without that nap, I'll tell you what, I always hit a wall at 7 p.m. That's just my natural biorhythm. I'd get a little sluggish in the afternoon, but not much. I don't do caffeine. I never have. I've never been a coffee drinker. 1 or 2 cups in my life. Didn't like the experience. And so now I do NuCalm every day. I do it in the afternoon, and it gives me a second day of productivity. I never hit that wall. If there's times when I just can't do NuCalm, literally for back-to-back meetings or I'm traveling, something like that, I'll notice, boom, my circadian rhythm is my circadian rhythm. It's in my DNA. And 7 o'clock, I'm like, wow, I'm really tired. And I have a lot to do. And I usually work from 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock. I usually have to force myself to go to bed. It's like last night, it was a Friday night, wasn't working, wasn't anything. It was 2:30 in the morning. I was like, oh no, I've got a morning meeting. I need to get to sleep. And lo and behold, by the way, as I got to sleep around 3, the fire alarms went off in the house for dead batteries at 3:30. I was like, you can't be serious. Back in
What
the
are
day, I
the
get
odds, huh?
frustrated. Yeah. Well, back in the day, I get frustrated, take it back to them. With the NuCalm kind of mindset and ninja mentality around stress management, I don't trigger that easily. So
Yeah.
the whole point is this. If you want to produce that 20-minute, 30-minute, 40-minute nap is brilliant. It's not a selfish move. It's not an unproductive move. It literally gives you the ability to prioritize. It gives you the ability to focus. It gives you the ability to produce. It also gives you the ability to say no without stressing out. So, hey, I just can't get that done. I'm sorry. Let's revisit
Yeah.
that next week. So it's made me a lot more productive. I'm 56 years old. I've never really respected my body. I've always just taken what I want from my body, and it's cost me in surgeries. And right now I've got a torn meniscus, I've got a sprained ankle, and I've got a bruised sternum, all from hockey, recreational hockey. I'm not getting paid to play. I'm playing in, bum leagues, but, NuCalm has been that real connective tissue for me to appreciate, respect myself, to have fascinating conversations with myself and my subconscious. I love that. My afternoons, I'm busy, busy, busy. I'm stressed, stressed, stressed. You're a small business owner. I'm a small business owner. It's a lot of work. There's off switch. You don't say, hey, I'm going to take a vacation and not think about this. No, I'm going to take a vacation and think about work the whole time and feel guilty about not working and then feel guilty about not being present with my family. That's just the way it is. Every entrepreneur knows that. So for me, that disconnect is a brilliant moment of peace, serenity, but it's also a power up my battery so I can charge through and kick butt the rest of the day and make good decisions. Like not playing hockey so I can work on a presentation, really bad idea for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't fill me
You
up.
know,
So,
Sir Alex Richardson and Mark Cuban were having a conversation in some podcast. I can't think of the show specifically. And, they were talking about the power of a nap as you bring it to, they were like, what is one of your secrets of being a successful billionaire? Because being a billionaire comes with a lot bigger problems, right? And
I'll
they
let you know when I
stated,
get there.
yeah. But what they stated was it was whenever they feel stuck or they can't think right or they can't make the right decision, they go and they take a nap.
Yeah.
And just in the best way that he described it is that it's as if starting your day all over again in a moment. It's like I just woke up all over again and my body is rested as if I had 8 hours of sleep. So I'm like that moment in the morning where like I'm the most productive. I can create it multiple times, which I feel for me personally, selfishly, what NuCalm has done for me. I'm like you when I can't sleep, meaning my mind is still thinking, I got a production and I got this schedule and I got this person and I got that person. It doesn't sleep. And NuCalm allowed me to really just sleep. I don't recall the last time before NuCalm where I put my head on a pillow and I woke up in the morning. I'm like, that was the longest sleep I've had. I mean, I get shocked sometimes because, in the morning with the deep sleep, it tells you in the bottom, like how long you've slept for and what was the purpose. I'm like, does that say 7 hours? I have never slept 7 hours since 2007. Let
Yeah.
that sink in for a second. Ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally get where it is. Now I gotta switch gear, and I think you and I both agree there are a lot of gimmicks, if you will, or so-called copycats who claim they do the same exact thing, or they at least try to tap into those keywords of what NuCalm has been able to patent. So let's talk about NuCalm being a patented and clinically validated product application software system. What does that mean in terms of credibility, and especially in a wellness market that is driven by algorithms and social media clicks versus the actual science itself?
Great question. And, business, you can't blame businesses for trying to be a for-profit enterprise,
Sure.
right? And marketing is all about seducing someone, connecting with someone emotionally, and moving products.
Yeah.
So that's what the marketplace is built on. That's what our economy is built on. This is my 14th startup since 1993. And the 13 previous startups I worked in, brilliant people, great management, backed by, good VCs, the right central purpose. We never, sans two different companies, we never had products that worked. We always had concepts we were working on with, 100-person engineering teams and QA teams and product managers. Um, the interesting about this business, when Jim invited me to really discover and evaluate this opportunity, one of the first things I looked at was intellectual property. I came from my background before that was working in really with math models and math geniuses, doing algorithms, compression algorithms for moving bits and data points over mobile networks. So it's a very competitive space, and you're always looking for a slice, just a sliver of intellectual property to protect. It's good value for the company. It's good value for the investors. It's also really good to protect, if you're willing to do the lawsuits and stuff like that, your business against other businesses. But for me, the first thing I looked at was, what's the intellectual property opportunity here? Is there one? Because if it's not novel, then there's no way to protect it, right? So that's what I did first. I looked at a patent they had authored years earlier and abandoned, and it wasn't a well formatted or well created. I don't think the lawyers understood the technology. So we added continuance in part and added a whole bunch of claims to it. And it took over 3 years. Here's the thing about a patent, if you don't know about patent protection, is you've got to prove to the patent examiner at the USPTO novelty and efficacy.
Mm.
I'm not a neuroscientist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I'm a business person. So I had to find, or a company had to find, the experts in their field around the world, first of all, to be willing to test it and understand it, and take this. So we did a cold call email to 26 of the top doctors in this space. And one of the people who answered that email was Dr. Chung-Kang Pang at Harvard University, mostly because the presentation was, hey, we've got an Eastern approach to a Western problem.
Mm.
That was how I framed it, because you want to get the right people. I don't want someone who's a diehard pharmaceutical pusher and a dyed-in-the-wool Western medicine person. That's not going to work.
In America, they don't exist, David. No way. There's no such thing in America,
Yeah,
right?
no, I'm funny, huh?
Imagine a world where wellness is effortless. It's here and it's now. Introducing NuCalm, the FDA-approved breakthrough changing lives. For every age, every lifestyle, NuCalm fits you perfectly. Athletes recover faster, professionals recharge, parents finally rest. Backed by science, NuCalm calms your nervous system, naturally. Experience deep sleep, stress relief, and total peace night after night. Calm is your superpower. Visit nucalm.com and transform your life today.
So Chung Kang Pang responded, and fortunately, he was 8 miles away from me. I lived in Newton, Mass. So we started the conversation. I remember I went and met with his team. He had 13 people on his team. Most of them were females. They were all engineers and one psychologist. And I presented, and I got a lot of nods, a lot of recognition, not a lot of questions. And when I left, I was like, well, I'm not even sure they understood what I was talking about. I'm not even sure they spoke English very well. And I think that could have been a waste of time. A month later, Dr. Peng called me up and said, hey, can I meet with the chief scientist? I said, sure, I'd get him on the phone. He's like, no, I need to meet with Dr. Holloway in person. I was like, why? He's like, I can't figure out, neither can my team, how you guys are doing this. They had done this on several hundred subjects. He had a stack of papers this thick. He was working with females who were self-reported having sleeping issues. They're mostly premenopausal, menopausal women, and they have sleep issues. And he said, without any hesitation, within 3 minutes of application of NuCalm, they're achieving parasympathetic nervous system dominance. And it was a mind bender for him. So Blake flew up. We drove to Harvard. CK walked in with his team. He slammed this thing of papers down us. And he looks at Dr. Haller and says, what happens at the 14-minute mark, which was our sweet spot? And Dr. Haller looked at me and was like, how did you figure that out? It was all using ECG, clinical grade technology to measure heart rate, but also use the Hilbert-Wong transform algorithm and math models to evaluate parasympathetic tone versus sympathetic tone. They're just math nerds. And every single subject they worked on so far was achieving that parasympathetic dominant tone at the 14-minute mark. And it was a mind bender. He's like, doesn't matter what meds they're on, doesn't matter about their illnesses, doesn't matter how old they are. I've never seen anything so predictable. That was the biggest piece for him. And that meeting, when I left that meeting, I knew we had something magical here. I had no idea how he created it. I knew why he created it. I had no idea really how it worked, and neither did CK Peng, but we started to learn that. And that was the beginning of me putting a lot of pressure on us. It took us 3 years and more than an affidavit for CK Peng. We had other people that do this to get that patent, for the examiner to say, you guys have it. There's nothing like it. They came back to me. The examiner was really rigid. And we had, I don't know how many times it came back. I've done a lot of different patents, and usually you don't hear anything. They're like, yeah, hey, we see that there's this space is available. We're going to give you this land grab. Boom, you've got your patent. It'll be issued, in 3 months. This was, okay, well, we understand this, but we don't understand that. Can you go back and can you show us, can you do each component independently and show us how 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 doesn't equal 4 in this regard? So that was a big effort. For us, it validated what we had. For me personally, like I said, I was fatigued working on products that didn't work, working on fantasies, selling baloney to people. So I get it. When people are selling baloney, I was that guy many times, and believe
especially if you believe in what you have, even if it might not necessarily be as great as you think it was at the time, but you believed in it so much, you understood that you were on a mission and a passion but I do want to come back to the point that being patented creates a little bit of a separation, right? Like, hey, it's great and it's awesome that you have the greatest intention with somewhat of great products, but you can't play on this league because of the patent. Can we? Is that a fair?
100%. So what consumers don't understand, business people understand, lawyers understand, investors understand. They buy companies for their IP.
Yeah.
Is we're alone on an island. We proved to the patent examining office over those 3 years and thousands of data points that we have a system and a method for balancing and maintaining the health of the human autonomic nervous system. If I'm lecturing to a group of doctors, could be 100, could be 10, could be 1,000. That's a mic drop. I say, hey, we figured it out. Pharmaceuticals don't want to figure it out. They want to medicate you and keep the problem going. They want pervasive problems so they can make a profit. And it's expensive to move a drug. I understand all of that, and I understand the economics. We literally have the only tool that's patented in the world that can do that. So if you claim you can do that, and like you said, there's a lot of gimmicks, lots of stuff, lots of noise, lots of copycats, lots of people saying that, they're lying to you or they're infringing on our patent. Now, what are we going to do about it? Well, we could go after them legally. Absolutely. That's not what we've been doing. We've been very gentle about it. We've looked at that and said, okay, use that first. And when it doesn't perform the way they tell you it performs, come to us.
Yeah.
We're going to deliver. We're always going to deliver. And like I said, when CK Peng said every single subject, regardless of background and circumstances, achieve that parasympathetic nervous system dominance at that point. What the heck? What's going on here? So yes, we're very bullish on that. I mention the patent all the time because I was personally involved in that process. It was worth it to me. I paid money out of my own pocket to make that happen. And I believe in the IP. Now that we have the patent and explain to consumers, they don't care. What do consumers care about? What can it do? Can it solve my problems? How much does it cost? And how do I use it?
Yep.
They're never going to say, hey, I'm not interested. It's not patented. They're never going to read the patent. But between you and me and the people who are scientifically generating this, go ahead and read the patent. It is a mind bender. It's a really exceptional tool. What we need to do leveraging that capability is we need to build a user experience that's as brilliant as our intellectual property.
100%. Let's
That's
talk
our challenge.
about NuCalm has been able to embrace different client avatar, if we want to use that term, right? You got professional athletes and professional teams even. You have first responders. You have high performers who live a very high stress environment. How were you able to kind of bring those worlds together, or bring them to embrace what NuCalm can do for them, beside the thousands and thousands of proven studies and results?
It's interesting. When you sit down and meet with somebody, a professional athlete, a high-priced attorney, a top operator, EMT, a single mother, their story always, and they don't know it, but centers around stress. It's, they talk with me through your day. A professional athlete, everyone's like, hey, I wish I was a professional athlete. Hey, I want to be a professional athlete. No, you don't. Their lives are really complicated. Their lives are rich and rife with stress. So imagine you've got contracts. Imagine this with a professional athlete. We're doing our job today. We're talking. We're creating content. We're trying to move the needle on exposure and acquisition of people trying our product. No one's evaluating us. You don't have armchair quarterbacks saying that guy's over the hill, that guy's overpaid, that guy's this is that. Every single game, some turd who never played hockey or never played football, never played tennis is telling you stink. That's horrible. That's great. It's like, what the heck is going on here? On top of that, every year they're trying to find people to replace you at a better price. That's really uncool. I've given you my body, my mind, my soul, everything about me so that I can perform for your team, and you're trying to replace me with every chance you have. On top of that, you've got media concerns. You've got injury problems. You wouldn't believe the injuries. We did a lot in the NHL, and I love hockey, so I'm very aware of that. But I'm talking about like punctured lungs, broken ribs, and they play a game the next day getting hit. You don't even know they're injured. Like, dude, you need to be in the hospital, not lacing up and getting crushed in the board. So then you're traveling all the time, or you're getting traded. You've got financial responsibilities, the contract negotiations. I was like, I'm really glad that I was just not good enough to play professional sports. My body's beaten up, and I don't know why I played sports, because I've had 7 surgeries for the interest in competition. But no thanks. And these kids are 22, 23, 24 years old. So we use them, we spit them out. Oh, and by the way, when they've got CTE, when they've got chronic pain, we ignore them. They're not interested.
Add the mental health and the mental health pressure of the scrutiny of being always under the lens and criticized and so on.
You can't have a bad moment. You can't throw an interception near the goal line, so it's really, it's a crazy thing. Same thing with professional, elite operators, the military. Now, we have the best training in the world. That's what gives us the best fighting force in the world. But their lives are really hard. And they're young people. They're in their mid to late 20s, right, to be a top operator, and they get multiple deployments. They're supposed to deploy for 6 months, come home and recharge. But during war times or during, unstable times, boom, they're gone all the time. And the way the military used to treat those folks is they would medicate them to make them calm down. They'd medicate them to supercharge them. We've got a great solution that's non-invasive. It's completely healthy. So the way we did that is we literally talked to them, listened to them, and just said, hey, try this. It's funny, Ali, with professional athletes, and you can never be a fanboy. I always had to be independent and neutral and almost pretend like I didn't know what sport they were in. I was like, oh, what do you do? Like, I didn't know Peyton Manning was a quarterback type of thing. So, but I said, hey, listen, napping we know is super uncool. You're an adrenaline junkie. That's why you're the best in the world at what you do. So you're not going to appreciate the first time you do NuCalm. And you're not even going to like me for making you do this. But your brain and your body are going to love this. And they're very tuned in to the currency of their body, because that's how they make a living. They know all the aches and pains. They know all the legacy. They know all the scar tissue. So I said, day 2, your brain's going to accept this a lot easier. You're not going to challenge it. You're going to have a much richer and deeper experience. And boom, day 3, 3 days in a row, you're going to love this. You're going to call me up and you're going to pay me a lot of money. And we're going to be best friends for the rest of our lives. And every single time, I said, just give me 3 days. And if it stinks, I'll leave you alone. And I'm telling you, that was the sweet spot for every one of those profiles. Someone in pain, chronic pain. What I always say to them is, say, listen, This is just an escape for 30 minutes a day where you're not in chronic pain, where you're not depressed, where you're not thinking about, is this ever going to end? And what's the exit strategy? And are drugs and alcohol a bad idea? Those kinds of things. It's insane. Or anxiety and stress. So the problem statements always go back to stress. If you have MS, we're not going to cure your MS. We're not doing anything in the ecosystem, but stress exacerbates your limitations and your pain. You won't be able to walk when you're stressed. So we eliminate stress. Guess what? Your body is a perfect system. It was born perfect. It knows exactly what to do to perform perfectly. Allow it to do that. So stress and poor sleep are chronic problems. That's what's interfering with that form. So the interesting thing is when people use it and they appreciate it, it was word of mouth. And that's really how this spread. You've never seen a television ad. You've never seen a magazine ad. We talk to people, but we've been really good at listening and also really good at learning. Again, we didn't invent this. And I don't know how many times I heard, yeah, nothing happened. And I'm like, dude, you were out for 2 hours, stiff as a stone, in the middle of the day in a kind of convention center. What do you mean nothing happened? He's like, well, it's like taking off. I was like, it's actually not like that. So I used to bring data points and show them, hey, here's what I'm going to do to you. Here's what we're going to look at in terms of the actual analysis from ECG and using HRV. And I'm going to prove it to you that way, and that would convert them. But it's never been easy. It's very personal. Moving from a medical device to a consumer product, very challenging because the mindset of a consumer is way different. They're distracted. They're impatient. They're cheap. Let's be honest. No one wants to spend money if they don't have to. And everything now, if you can get it for free, you get it for free. And they're lazy. They don't want to take the effort to learn. Why would they? They've got a million things going on that are more important. But when you have a chronic problem, there's nothing more important than normalizing yourself and getting back to a place of comfort. Sleep, like you just said, hey, sometimes look at the app and it said I slept 7 hours and I haven't done that since 2007. Well, that's insane, Ali. Just so you know, not sleeping for 17 or 18 years, a rich, good night sleep every night is really bad for you.
Mm-hmm.
But you normalize it. Hey, dude, I've got kids. I can't do this. I'm running a business. I can't do that. Hey, I've got travel. It's a Saturday for us. We should be enjoying ourselves, but we're working, right? I mean, that's just the way it is. So I'm glad you have the tool. Let's just say that.
Yes,
and I always appreciate serving people who serve others.
I appreciate that.
Whether it's entertainment, whether it's life-saving things, fire, rescue, those kinds of folks, they're sacrificing and putting their lives at risk.
Yep.
And it's not just, hey, what if someone dies? And most of those folks are never hurt and injured, but they're training every day. It's a crazy lifestyle.
Yeah. From a CBO's perspective, scaling a neuroscience company isn't easy. As a matter of fact, for anybody, forget just being on the steering wheel. For anybody, just scaling a neuroscience company isn't easy. What would you say some of the key, whether they're partnerships or strategic moves that have helped NuCalm grow from a concept or an idea to an internationally recognized brand?
A great question. So scaling is hard, and it doesn't matter if it's your family first, your community second, your region third, and then the world fourth. It's all about learning. It's all about understanding your audience. So one of the things we're really good at is creating unbelievable products that naturally coexist in your brain, in your ecosystem. This isn't a narcotic. This isn't sedation. We're not doing anything to your central nervous system. We're helping your autonomic nervous system get the information it needs to do the right things to make you healthy. With the consumer side, it's and what we're focusing on now, and where we'll see that transition to really, I think, a much more interesting household brand is understanding the user experience. So for us, I'd always say to someone, hey, don't judge us on what it is. Judge us on what it does. That's where this is valuable, because we had a really crude, I wouldn't say grotesque, it was very effective, but when it was a clinical system, a lot of parts, and they all worked in synergy to get that result, but it was clumsy. So selling that to consumers, they're like, this is nuts. I'm not doing this. And I want to hear, a professional athlete or an operator say, hey, I remember when you had this, and you had the chewable supplements, all that stuff. And they loved it because they had the effects on them. Like, wow, what a crazy system. I can't believe I did that every day for 10 years. Like, I did it too. Why? Because it made me feel really good. It gave me the energy and inspiration. There's nothing worse than being tired. There's nothing worse than having a great night's sleep and waking up like, wow, I can't wake up today. I don't want to waste a full day. I've got 10,000 days left on this planet. Every day matters, right?
Mhm.
So how do we do that? It's really about listening, understanding your audience is the most important thing. And that's one of the things we're getting much better at. We're always about understanding the brain. How do we do this without causing zero interruptions? How do we do this without causing any problems for anybody? Because everyone's got different set of problems, different sets of needs, right? So making universal has been different. But with your help, and we've got a really interesting team, we're now focused exclusively on the user experience.
Two versions of the same night. One path leads to exhaustion.
NuCalm gave me my peace back. After years of sleepless nights, I finally found calm.
Between work and kids, I was drowning in stress. NuCalm became my reset button.
I use it before big presentations. It's like meditation on demand.
The other leads to this, NuCalm, clinically proven neuroscience technology. Because peace of mind is priceless. Visit nucalm.com or download the app today.
That's how we scale this. That's how we move this to a household experience. Because Steve Jobs used to say, hey, why would I ask my customers anything? They don't know what I can do. They don't know what's possible. Same kind of thing. But for us, we have to ask our customers, like, how would you use this? Ali, how would you take time in your day to take a nap? How would you convince your wife that it's important? How do you convince your kids that, hey, you're going to get better grades? Hey, your social anxiety is going to be reduced. Let's get after it. That's the hardest part. But here's the thing I love about NuCalm, and we don't get credit for making it a global a brand and competing in a rich marketplace. It's been word of mouth has been our army forever. Because once you use it, once you start seeing the results, you can't help but share it because you want to help other people. That's it. We're a word of mouth organization. Like I said, I've never had a marketing budget. We never did VC backed anything. We're a small company. We paid all our bills ourselves. And so I'm really excited about the next chapter of focusing exclusively on how to make this a stress-free experience from the moment you hear about it, learn about it, connect that it might help you, try it, and then buy it, and then use it for the rest of your life.
I love it.
Bingo. Yeah.
I love it. So the NuCalm app obviously has become a central focus. This is the driving force to how people experience the technology. How do you balance innovation in the hardware science space with keeping the app engaging and accessible for users? For me, it's the stress assessment, but I would love to hear from your perspective on how do you do that?
That's a great question. So you can only solve really one problem at a time, right? You identify problems. So the app, when we first moved these units in 2009 as a commercialized product, it was just an on-off switch. There was nothing more because you have to start from the beginning. There's no fast forward, rewind. And you were working in clinics and they're not going to take the time to learn anything. So it's literally, we made it so easy and we'd have sticky notes. Here's where you put the headphones. Here's where we put the patches. Here's how you do this. Here's that. And systematize everything. So it was very rote for someone who didn't speak English as a primary language, didn't know anything about it, could apply it to a patient. The first version of the app for consumers, all we cared about, because we're serving two audiences, we're serving the clinical side and consumers, was make sure the playback is never interrupted. That's really important because once you stop the software, your brain disconnects. You say, hey, I'm done. What happened? So if you have Wi-Fi issues and it's going in and out, you'll notice that, hey, I keep waking up, the software's not playing. Boom, we lose that control of your brain and the frequency side. So that was important. Then protecting it. We didn't want, spin up companies in Malaysia, China, and all over the world the next day because you can pirate anything. So the encryption side, it took us about 2.5 years because we were doing movie-sized files, but in audio. It didn't exist. So we had to essentially find someone to build a proprietary algorithm for encryption. Now, you could, decode everything. You can steal anything if you've got the resources and time and it's that important to you. I understand all that, but those are the two critical things. We only had one product, Ali, when we built this in 2019. We had Rescue. We called it NuCalm. And it's the recovery piece. It's the version that brings you down to alpha, then down to theta for recovery. It's really important. It's my favorite product. It's the one I've used 3,500 times since 2021. Now we have 6 products. We've created an issue in our app. We can deliver it. The runtime and uptime is perfect. We've got distributed servers all over the world. So we do current nodes. So we're not sending data, over long distances. We've got the encryption is great, but the usability, when I talk about, hey, how do I make this a great user experience? If you don't know anything about NuCalm and your friend didn't tell you how to use it, you open the screen, you're like, okay, what is Ignite? What is Focus? What is Flow State? Those are unique products. They deliver different outcomes. They're different parts of your brainwave function that we're connecting with and guiding. So we're going to start building this year. And we've been at this a long time. We get a lot of data, a lot of feedback from our masterminds. That's our elite group of very committed users. And so our goal, like you said, hey, how do you get that connection? The stress assessment tool, it's a company we've partnered with. It's a voice rec piece. It's a really simple way to evaluate your nervous system. It's amazing. It's really complicated how it works with voice recognition. It's like, wait a minute, what? I mean, there's a leap of faith that you have to take. But imagine now I can go to our website. I can go through social and say, hey, take the stress test. It's 35 seconds. So you just speak about your environment, nothing emotional. And in 20 seconds, we'll return a score. And now you can try, hey, what's the impact? One of the things about Aura, I did all of the cheap diagnostics, right, that are available, Whoop, Aura, stuff like that. And I always notice, okay, I know when I've had a bad night's sleep. Intuition is pretty powerful, right? And I'm 56 years old, so I've had a lot of sleep. I don't need the record, but what I did notice is, wow, alcohol is really bad for me. I think it's fun. My friends think it's fun. I had a blast last night. But man, I got a 55 sleep rating instead of a 95 if I know.
Wow.
So that was a really cool thing. Same thing you can do with the stress assessment. Hey, dealing with, this partner. Every time I do it, my stress goes up. What am I doing? How can I? It's a really good, cool tool to measure the things you're choosing to do in your life. And also for us, selfishly, it can prove to you, hey, here's how effective NuCalm Rescue. Here's how effective NuCalm PowerNap. Here's how effective deep sleep can be for you. You don't have to use intuition. You don't have to use an ECG device with collecting 500 data sets per second and running the transform algorithms to look at your nervous system. You don't have to do your blood pressure. There's 12 ways or 12 components to looking at your nervous system, which takes a couple of days. Blood work, blood pressure, all these kinds of like HRV. You're like, that's a lot of work. But by the way, by the time I get the results, my nervous system has changed. This is an instant measurement. So we go, I like the Pepsi challenge. Hey, there's a lot of stuff out there. Like you said, great. It's a really interesting marketplace. It's a growing marketplace. We want more competition. We think it's amazing. Let them spend the money, build the problem statement, get people excited about it, and then we'll come in and steal the business because guess what? Our stuff works. We talked about the patent side. Boom. So that stress assessment tool on top of a guided tool for, hey, using AI, Ali, your stress assessment is this. We suggest you do these 3 things for the rest of the day on your terms when you're ready. Boom. Let's look at it tomorrow and see if we've made progress.
I love it. I love it, and I love your authentic approach to exactly. Hey, we're just doing it, black on white. We're gonna do it right all the way through and through again. Business development often comes down to building trust, really. How do you feel that NuCalm has built trust thus far? And I know we talked about doctors, we talked about clinics, we talked about professional sport teams. How do we mirror that very same trust that has been created to the consumer alike?
It's really interesting. That's where the word of mouth piece is so important. So 10 years ago, when I was doing a lot of lecturing, I was always looking at a lot of data. And I saw a report 10 years ago that said 82% of purchases are made by referrals. Saying, hey, try this. That means 18% are made by advertising. I was like, wow, we spent a lot of money for 18% of the market share. It's really word of mouth. So yeah. I think there's less and less confidence in celebrity endorsements. I think there's a lot less confidence in affiliates and influencers and stuff like that because people have been burned so much. Everyone gets marketed to. You sign up for something you can never cancel. It's a really weird. The connectivity has made us so disconnected to good service, good eye contact, good handshakes, good human interaction. It's really it's sad and it's sadly ironic. So what do? We let the product do the talking.
Absolutely.
I'm not the big fan of, hey, I'm going to tell you all these million things. No one wants to be a neuroscientist. I didn't want to be a neuroscientist. I didn't care. I mean, it's interesting how the brain works, but That's not what I do. That's not what I went to school for. It doesn't turn me on. What turns me on is, hey, if I do this, then I can do these 3 things that I really want to do.
Yeah.
That's what makes me happy. So it's really about the proof is in the pudding. Let the product do the talking. And I always say to people, listen, you may or may not like me. You may or may not like my brother. You may or may not like our website. Try the product. If you don't like that, I always say there's something wrong with you. And
Yeah.
there's nothing I can do for you.
So as we're coming down towards the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter of this championship interview, because I'm enjoying every part of it. This question is not for the CBO of NuCalm, but this is David Poole. Like, this is me, Ali, asking you, David, where do you see NuCalm heading? Like, what is your selfish desire to see in the next 2 years at the furthest point, maybe 2 to 5 years, but what do you really, really want it to be at?
So for us, I'd like to be a change agent. I want people to understand how to live their best life.
Yeah.
I want people to understand what the consequences of ignoring stress are. I want people to understand what's the consequence of surrendering good sleep every night because you're a parent or because you're traveling or because you chose a lifestyle where you're on shift 24 hours and you're off shift. What does that mean for you in your life? Because you get one chance at this thing. I don't know what happens after this, but I can tell you this, you're not getting a second chance at this, right? So for me, it's, hey, let's educate people on managing stress should be as important as your diet, should be as important as your exercise, should be as important as your sleep. Those 4 pillars are what makes you whole. And the thing that Dr. Holly used to say to me, I really appreciate all the time was, you were born perfect. I don't care if you had 11 fingers and 9 toes, you're still perfect. And your body's a perfect ecosystem and knows exactly how to create a perfect environment and a perfect response for you, right? So to do that and manage that, you need to manage your adrenals and you need to manage your cortisol. End of story. So if we can do that for people, now what you do with that information, I'd love for you to use NuCalm. That'd be awesome. And I think it'll help you. But you could do Tai Chi. Like I said, motorcycle riding and hockey, like that's relaxing, 100%. There's nothing more valuable to me. The other thing is the ocean. I don't sit on the beach. I don't put my towel down. I don't sunbathe. I've never had oil. I don't put up an umbrella. I literally drop my towel. I run in the water. And when I'm done swimming for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it is, or I'm waterlogged or I can't breathe anymore, boom, I get out, I grab my towel and I leave. Those are the things that I love to do. NuCalm, I'll say this, it's going to keep you and make you your authentic self. What do you desire? What makes you happy? What makes you inspired? What makes you a better person? I like saying, hey, stop being an asshole, get on NuCalm. There's no way this is your character. There's something going on with stress and your life and pressures that you're not handling and coping well. It's making you behave, ugly to people.
Yeah.
Boom. Get relaxed. There's nothing wrong with relaxation. One of the things that's interesting about our culture, I'm so proud and so happy to be an American. I'm so lucky and blessed to be an American, but we've got a chip on our shoulder. No one produces the way we produce. No one works the way we work. No one wants to be the hero the way we want to be here. You go to London, every day at 5 o'clock, they're in the bar. I'm like, when are you guys getting work done? How can you drink? There's no way you can work after this. You go to France, you're like, hey, I want to go to a cheese shop, and it's closed from 2 to 4. You're like, you guys, is this a joke? What's going on? Well, they're in siesta. They've been at this for thousands of years. They figured out, hey, dude, why are you killing yourself? For what? For the bottom line, for an earnings report, for a bonus? No thanks. So if we could adopt a little bit of the European sensibility in the American culture, relax a little bit, take care of each other a little better. I mean, fast food, we've made it proliferate, sadly, because of big corporations, but that's not how you spend time with your family. It's not in a drive-through, right? So everything we've done is accelerate this so we can work more. It's the silliest thing. It's an ugly compromise. Eventually, I'll probably move to Europe just so I can relax. Otherwise, here, even if I retire, I've got big plans that means 15, 20 hours a day. I'm like, look up the definition of retirement. That's not what it looks like. But so NuCalm for me is a change agent, and hey, understand what decisions you're making, what consequences there are to those decisions, and take better care of yourself.
Yeah, I love that. And in the spirit of the message that you just shared, I just want to first of all applaud everything that you just shared. And for me, I was born and raised in Morocco, Northwest Africa. I've had the privilege and the opportunity to spend a lot of time in Europe, whether it was from visiting or school or work. I've been all around the world. I speak 6 international languages fluently, which allows me to do what I do. And I've expanded companies in 6 continents. And I only tell you this to tell you, everywhere I go, everywhere around the world, they say, man, we love America and we believe it is the land of opportunity. They just like the fact that they are much more relaxed, and the numbers don't lie. In the United States, the average lifespan, I believe it's 72 years old as of latest, 72 years old. All around the world, it's over 85.
Yeah.
So what makes that little difference is, to your point, there's this element that was figured out over the years of, like, it's important to give your body what it requires, that little nap. As a matter of fact, the school system that I grew up in when I was still in Morocco as a youngster, you start at 8 to 12 and then you go home from 12 to 2. And it is a requirement for you to eat and sleep. Like when I was in Morocco growing up, in my house, if you made a beep, like, so you eat at 12, 15, 1 o'clock, it is silence. And I mean, my father will go monster on you if you're like, we're trying to sleep here. And you're like, it's the afternoon. But that's what makes everybody, again, wake up, energized, happy, calm.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful to see that NuCalm is doing that. And from a perspective to somebody who was born and raised in a third world country, in predominantly Muslim country, though we are Christian, I'm here to tell you that this is by far the greatest country in the world. And, you can't do all the things that we are doing in America anywhere else in the world. I can attest to that because I've lived everywhere else. But at the same time, don't forget about your health. And on the spirit of one thing, don't be an asshole, try NuCalm. I would like to add to it, don't be an asshole. An asshole is somebody who always says, man, I'm stressed, I don't know what to do. And you're like, well, why don't you use NuCalm? And they call you the next day, man, I just can't sleep, I'm stressed. Right, have you tried NuCalm? Like, stop asking and just, by the way, it is free to try NuCalm. The app gives you a trial period. And please do what I've done, do what my wife and I have done. Now we have it in our children's room at nighttime, where we put their little speakers and then we allow them to have deep sleep. And before they will wake up with nightmares or, like all the different things, but our children are happier and calmer, which guess what it does for me as a parent? I got happy kids all the way around, not jittery, not frustrated. Yeah, it made life all the way around better. So I am not only an advocate, an ambassador, somebody who's very, very proud of using NuCalm, but I highly recommend for everybody in this side of the world that deals with stress to absolutely give your body, give your life, give yourself what you deserve and desire. And might I add, and I learned this from our last 2 interviews with Jim Poole, your twin brother. By the way, a lot of the product side and the technology behind it, we've done 2 special episodes. Just check them out in the playlist before this. And you will learn a whole lot. One part of it was it makes intimacy better. I'm just saying, but it's better than Viagra. So definitely consider it for those of you who want to spice things up as well in the bedroom with your significant other. Mr. Poole, I'll let you have the final remarks and the final call to action for our listeners and viewers.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to speak about this. It's important, NuCalm shouldn't be a secret around the world. Like you just explained about your school system or the architecture of your school days in Morocco. With us, we get our kids up at 6 in the morning. They don't have gym anymore. They've got a very short window to eat. It's the same thing. We're accelerating everything and they're not really learning.
Yeah.
And kids are exhausted. And then all the social pressure. This is something, it's really important for you to understand. Sleep is non-negotiable. Stress management is critical. That's it. And when it comes to stress management, I believe there's not a better solution to NuCalm. But if I was an expert meditator, I might argue that, hey, I know what I'm doing. Not a lot of expert meditators in the U.S. market that I know of.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here, and this is an exclusive about all things NuCalm. Trust me and believe me, we're doing a lot more specials about all things NuCalm. Get involved. Go to nucalm.com. Get your free trial right away. Make sure that you do your stress test as well, and definitely give yourself and your body the rest that it deserves, the rescue that it absolutely needs, so you can be the best, more effective, efficient human being, brother, son, daughter, father, husband, entrepreneur, or intrapreneur that you can be, as we've done for ourselves. I appreciate and love you. Until next time, this has been a privilege to serve you. We'll talk to you soon.
I'm literally exhausted, but my brain won't shut up. Until I tried this neuroscience thing, it's called NuCalm, and honestly, I was so skeptical. But you literally just put on this eye mask, open their app with these binaural beats, and within like 10 minutes, my brain finally stops racing. I've tried everything: melatonin, meditation apps, white noise machines, nothing worked. But this actually shifts your brainwaves from chaotic to calm. It's like having an off switch for anxiety. I'm genuinely obsessed, and I had to share this.